Okay, how to be a GM, game master in a role-playing game. Now, this is a Christian role-playing game, but this is all role-playing games have a game master, a gamekeeper, a warden, a referee, whatever it's called. This one's going to be a grand minister. And how do you do this? Okay, so I got to go through a little history of Dungeons and Dragons. This is one of the early modules that helped me and helped most of us become DMs, because we had no idea. I mean, back in the 80s. So early 80s, dungeon module, the Keep on the Borderlands. Okay, and this is a really simple dungeon. Look at the thing. But so you start off with a regional map, and even you can create your own regional map where you doodle out like forest. Here's the keep. There's the keep. There's the keep, and then there's the caves, and then you can have your own little random creature encounters in here. You create like a little region that you want to put things in. And my suggestion is always to do what you want. In the game, as far as like what kind of encounters and making them fun and scary and dangerous and stuff like that. And then you have a list of like monsters or creatures or villains, and you kind of put them around. You also are going to create like a town. This is a keep, and within it you're going to have these are kind of simple rules here: equipment they can buy if you want, or different things that they can get. Because in a role-playing game, just like even in video games and computer games, it's all about upgrading, right? That's the addiction. Rewarding them with gold, and then they go and buy something bigger and stronger, magic items or whatever. So that's the whole concept of this game is always feeding them in their addiction, which is going up in levels and getting experience points to buy levels and go up, upgrade their skills, and then also getting treasure to go up and getting better, more powerful magic items or whatever. I mean, as far as the traditional OSR. And also, there's this big cave area that they got to go to and explore and do their dungeon stuff and get treasures and beat orcs and goblins and fantasy stuff. And that's all described in this part right here. And you got to read it, and it gets kind of grindy, and there's some traps and all that kind of stuff. And there's little different factions within each area, so they you can kind of play off of that, and like role playing wise. And role playing is a very important part of it, where you act out the characters, you have dialogue with the players, and you're playing the non-player characters, the NPCs. In the town, they have like I don't remember exactly what they have in here, but they have like you put a blacksmith who's going to fix their armor or sell them armor. You put a tanner with a leather guy who fixes the leather armor and sells them stuff. Or you have in this you'll have a magic user who maybe sells them spells, etc. So in the Christian role-playing game, I'm obviously going to differentiate that, but this is the way that as a GM you kind of started to learn how to be a GM, or DM in this case for D&D, Dungeon Master. And so, do I have that in mind? The problem with me, and for the Lord RPGs, I do have some content, and it's all kind of in notes, and I got to clean it up and polish it and just post it on my website. And I also play the games so you can see examples of how I do it. But to have it like in a nice little print form, I need to start, getting that done. So there is that I need to get done. But let me explain a couple things here about being a game master, and setting up your own little world, your own little environment. So let me go. Obviously, you need to know the rules, right? You need to understand the combat, the game mechanics. And you know what? The best way to do it is for you and the players just to go for it. Just have it out, work it out with them, figure it out. And if a player, here's a really good thing too. You probably won't have this, but if there's a player that wants to help you with the rules, please. I used to feel like intimidated as a GM when a player knew the rules better than me. But I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this right now. Just putting this back. When a player knew the rules better, but now I, as an old guy, oh my gosh, please, I wish a player, knew these, give them these rules, let them study it, so they can help you with the rules. So that I really appreciate a player who studies the game and knows the rules, so that and when you get corrected, that's fine. Go, be appreciative of that. Let's go down to where I start the game master kind of part. Advice to all is for the players and the game master. That's a good thing to read through. I already did a video on that. Grandmaster's Guide. So here's I just kind of explained the basic concept of the game, and obviously this is a Christian game, so it's the same. I made this game the same as all the other old role playing games, but I think even better, and streamlined it to 20 pages of rules. But I've also added the die ranks, which to me are a huge difference, because when you add die ranks, you don't become too overpowered too quickly. There's not really a cap, and as you add more and more die ranks, more and more, you roll, it gets a very kind of crazy, but you're going to be more successful than failure, but you can still fail. That's the thing. That's a wonderful thing about that, the die ranks, and doing a dice pool, because you keep the highest, but you can roll a bunch of dice and roll low. Rarely, but you can do it. So in this game, I don't necessarily have a cap on the level they go to, or how much stuff they give it, how much skills and blessings and magic items, or in this case, I would say more master crafted bonuses, well made bonuses, some sort of holy items, relics that I'm on the fence on whether that's legit or not, but I think we do certainly have a psychological and prayer and blessing sense of items that we as Christians kind of get or understand that. So I don't mind sort of having that. It's huge in church history. So if you have a holy cross or holy something weapon, I to me, I'm okay with that, because historically it's part of church history. So they give you bonuses to die rank bonuses that you combine and roll, and it doesn't break the game when you get too many. It obviously you're more and more powerful, but the character is, but it's not like impossible to fail at some. There's a possibility of failure even with that all those die ranks. Anyway, so when I start here, this is a list of just helping you get names. I took all these names from hagiographies and Dark Age history stuff accounts, and then broke them up into the syllable so you can kind of recombine them and do different things. This is just like this little thing here I just threw in here is like basic ideas for making random adventures, and all of these things refer to characters that I have in my little character sheet, or creature codex, which is a separate supplement. But at the back here, I'll just go right to the bottom. I made sort of the groupings of what they really are, like what kind of what their main trait would be, their prowess or awareness or whatever. What their vigor is, their hit points, what that would be, basically. What their armor save would probably be. What their weapon to hit is, the weapon damage, and then what how many sort of other extra abilities they have. And here's the creature abilities that you can kind of familiarize yourself with, or pick and choose. And you can kind of make a boar have a charge ability, or you can make them have a pounce. Maybe they're just a special kind of boar, or whatever. Or obviously, if you make it a pounce, then you're probably going to turn this into some sort of forest cat, leopard, or tiger and lion. And those basically back in the Dark Ages, they probably had them in Europe. Rare, but probably still had a few around. And I like to, in the story setting, because it's 6th century Dark Ages, I like to think that a lot of the animals from the gladiator arenas were, released accidentally or escaped, or the arenas were shut down and the animals got away or whatever. So I kind of like to think there's a lot of those type of creatures roaming around as scary beasts, prehistoric beasts kind of thing as well. Because remember, it's not very populated in the 6th century, so very a lot of vast forests and stuff. So you can play with these numbers as your basic characters really quickly and throw down some creatures and stuff. And when you're a new GM, just start with the first. Always just use the first one. Don't even go up, or maybe bring in one once in a while. The warrior will be with the minions or the critters. Maybe it has a predator, or they fight a predator, or they'll fight 4 critters, and then they do really well against the 4 critters. Okay, then you can do 6 critters. Do that. Don't just jump to all these powerful things, the possessed or the undead or the type of encounters. Keep it simple for a while, because you want to, as a GM, want to learn their strengths and weaknesses and your own when you in the combat, and they can learn how to use their blessings and stuff as well. So keep it, the whole thing about rats, starting with rats is really important. Start with vermin. Start with that to do your first GM experience with them, or lowly bandits who are literally farm boys, wanting to get a little more money. So weak minions or critters is all you want to do for encounters. Okay, so you don't want Don't go too crazy with that. And in this, raiders or bandits are terrorized in local areas they pass through. Make it farm boys, literally like, you know, that low level, running around, trying to steal from people as they're traveling the roads, especially missionaries who look like they're just, you know, a handful. And I mean, and they can just come up and threaten them. Give us coin, you know. I explained a little bit about paganism here and the culture of paganism here in these 2 pages. Church activity, just to give you an idea of, you know, the church back then and the basics of it all. Village activity, just so this is to give you an idea of how you want to populate your village. What do you want to make it kind of feel like? And activity nearby is something that, you know, you can roll, and this is probably what they're sort of doing. So also in this little village activity thing, you want to kind of roll like, do I have it here? Yeah. A village would be a D4 or a D6. A town would be a D8 or a D12. So, and a city would be a D12. And what this is like you roll just, and that's kind of what they generally, you know, a town could have a lot of these, but generally what is their main focus? So let's just say, I'm going to grab this thing here. I'm going to roll a D4 just for the fun of it. Ignore that. Let me do this again and roll a D4. 2. Okay, I rolled a 2. And a 2 is hunting, fishing, trapping. So the village is going to have a lot of that there. Hunting, fishing, trappers. That's the kind of culture they're going to have. So let's just say they're in a town. I'm going to roll a D12 for the fun of it. 10. Ooh, what's 10? Entertainment, amphitheaters, arenas. So some sort of like Greek, you know, the town has got, maybe they got the gladiator arenas. Maybe they got theater and pageantry and stuff. And granted, you can have other things in the town or the city or whatever it is. That would be a city. But these are the things that you sort of want to describe predominantly. And maybe you make characters that are based off of that. And how do you make a town or city? That's a big one. So I would focus on small villages first and then get to larger towns. But obviously, when you do a larger city or town, you want to do it sectionally. Like, you know, they come to a certain area in the big city, not the whole big city. Also, this is here I'm saying for the gear of the characters, you're going to have these type of people around the town that you can kind of place in there on your little town map. You got to make a town map, you know, so they can enjoy going around and look and talking to people, and just kind of make a simple, you know, tanner, nice, smith, curmudgeon, angry, you know, butcher, greedy. You know, just something simple like that. So when they go to encounter them, you got to get them a name too. And obviously for basic names too, I would give them like 2 syllables, the first 2 syllables, you know, or the second 2 syllables, or just the first part. You know what I mean? Just give them. They always ask for the name, so you always got to have a name ready. That's why I have that little list here that you can roll on. Each is a D20, and there's two D20 lists. You can decide, you know, which one to roll on or whatever. Okay, pagan hex crawl. So this is the part that'll really help you with creating what's going on in your area, your town, the village that you've created. And by the way, let me show you a village. So here, this is the paper cutouts, right, of a village. Now, I have a map. This is the map of the area that I'm sort of trying to build out as a campaign for you and me to use. This is Lake Lagano, the area in Italy, an actual area. Lake Como is to the east. I kind of want to go here one day, so you guys all please buy my games and buy a ton of them so that I can afford to go here. I got to go business class because economy kills me, my fat back. Anyway, so what's funny is I go to London a lot, or England, because of my wife's English. Maybe I should just do one in England, for crying out loud. Anyway, and they started the church literally at the same time because Pope Gregory actually sent a team to England early, like in the 6th century. Yeah. Anyway, so this is basically, if you were GM, you would draw a regional area and then pick out little places and then pick out little locations. I got little swamp, a little stone thing here, a little Stonehenge thing in the swamp, little tower up here. I'm making up some stuff here, some caves over here. I'm doing like a werewolf thing up here. Val de Leon, Lycan. I've changed the name because I noticed that modern day names have changed. They've changed them from the past. Some. So there's going to be werewolves. Not now. My werewolves are Viking Northman cosplay type things, but they believe they're wolves. They believe they're vicious and they're cunning and they've got drugs, rabid drugs they use, and so that's the paganism I use. that's the type of thing that I use for for the scary stuff and monsters. And there are monsters like a bear that is rabid, drugged, and full of anger and crazed is a monster, right? As far as like doing demonic activity, I don't mind doing demonic activity and demons, but I'm not there yet as far as my figuring this all out with the Dark Ages. I do want to do a crazy demonic type setting for this, but I want to focus on sort of church history and keeping it grounded, especially for families and kids, so that they can kind of learn about paganism, what paganism is. So all these werewolves and all these cosplay is an important part of paganism. I mean, if you look at paganism today, they dress in cosplay all the time, and for their to bring in people. People are not going to go to their pagan events unless there's something to see. In that sense, like crazy stuff. Anyway, cosplay. So you have a regional map, then you start creating locations, and obviously a creation I created was the town of. Let me go to the Ravio, this little village, and I've had several adventures here as I played the game. So you create these are the cutouts that I provide you in the PDF. You cut them out, put them on the table, figure out who's what. Like there's a like a constable or whatever, a reeve or whatever living here, a mayor. The church they built later. This is a progression of this village, by the way. When I first played the game, the in the middle here was a slave thing, selling slaves, and they were selling the slaves to the mines up here, as you can see this. So I created this map, using the cutout pieces, and just coming up with a story idea. And the story is always creating the paganism that controls the area with whatever it is that they want to do, and it's usually something greedy. The mines, they got the villagers to sacrifice their sons as slaves to the mines and ran that as a pagan type of thing, and the villagers all succumbed to that. And then of course the Christians came in and cleaned that out and fought the bad guys and cleared this out, and there was a really bad guy in the cave here in the mines. So there's that little thing. Another little adventure I had was when at this point where from another village the witch came up, or some of her minions, they dropped off a bait of like a stinky bait, and then a dinosaur dragon came from the water, lured by the bait, and came into the village to terrorize the villagers. See, so that's another little adventure you can have in the village. You can have stuff like that. I want to show you another one that's really cool as far as making a storyline for an adventure. I just got to remember where I put it. Here, I just found it. Let me just get the right map. It's a rocky. Okay, this is a really cool one. So this is another village I set up, and again, you can cut this out. Now I'm using Foundry, but I don't recommend it because it's a lot of work. So I'm assuming you're playing with people at the table, so you can kind of just doodle out your basic village and then place these out as your village, whatever. I mean, you don't want to make this complicated on a table. Keep it small, like maybe just this little area right here, just enough for them to go talk to these different people and go explore. But in this storyline, everyone is laughing at the church and these Christian young priest because his church is infested with rats. Well, it turns out that underneath in the tombs, there's a hole that the rats have been coming up and terrorizing him, and they're so it's like a beginning adventure where they got to fight these rats, and they find that there's this tiny little hole going down. Now they hear from the villagers. They finally glean out of the villagers that there's an old mine nearby, and so they go explore the old mine. And they find it over here, and they go down and they discover that this witch here is actually feeding a giant mother rat, which is a scary creature, that is, luring up the rats into the church. So this witch with her minion warriors here, they're hidden now, but these minion warriors here, are doing this thing to, and they had a little fight in here, and she throws acid or whatever at the Christian missionaries. But there's this hole she drops food down in, which makes them crazy, and it's so that's a simple, cool little adventure that they did. And once they defeated that, they got the town to convert and realized they were being bamboozled by the witch. So it's that type of stuff that we do, and obviously they can still try to evangelize, but they had a hard time evangelizing them because the church was infested. So they had to deal with the creature problem first, to then go and evangelize the people and get the church up and running again. Same with this. They had to go deal with the slavery, the the horned ones and the mines to then convert the people. So you create that kind of plot where you have bad guys doing something and the villagers have accepted it and they're sacrificing to it. That's kind of the basic premise of paganism. And I keep everything simple as far as like the stats of the different people. You can just use a B to 12. Whenever they have to argue with someone, whenever there's a fight, whenever there's, just keep the number simple. 12 is to hit them or whatever if you want. And they can have like 4 to 6 vigor. So not very much. As soon as they get hit, they're like, start that off that way as a GM to learn how to play the game. And they probably wouldn't have armor, right? A D4 is a good leather armor, and most people will not even have that. They might have a D2, they might have just a 1 to their armor save. So keep it that low. 12 to hit them, they get a 1 or D2 armor save at the most, and they have 4 to 6 vigor. And that's what you're dealing with as far as rats, as minions, angry farmer mobs here. And then even like the bad guys, the bad warrior, which I don't have it here yet because this is older. But if you had some of the horned ones or whatever, they would have that, like maybe a D4 for our leather armor, for armor save, and then like a 6 to 8 vigor. And then when they swing, they just get them a +2. That's it, just a +2 for them, their swings to hit, and they do D4 damage, so minimal damage, just D4 kind of a thing, or a D6. And keep it simple. And as soon as they start to beat them, and their vigor, their hit points, same as vitality for the players, as soon as that goes down, they start to back off. And there's a rule here under combat, which you should know as a GM, called denouement. And denouement for creatures and for people is them wanting to run away. And for lowly foes, commoners, is a D4. And pretty much every result is them wanting to run away as soon as they get hurt, right? As soon as they take a big damage, fall, flanked, successfully attacked and preached at the same turn, you can roll this. Now, hirelings and warriors have a D6, and you can even upgrade it to a D8 if they have like a big tough guy with them or a witch, so that they might fight to the death. A 5 is they're still fighting but not attacking, and a 6 they keep fighting. Okay, whatever. And this denouement is an important part of the Christian game because you obviously don't want to always kill everyone. You want to try to just subdue the evil, get them to surrender, so you can, carry on the commission of evangelizing and planting churches. Okay, so let's go to creating this pagan area. And I've given you sort of a list here of how to create this this option here, this storyline. If you come up with your own, great, but and again, keep the bad guys very minimal as far as their stats, the toughness, as a new GM. And when you start getting more experience and the players get more experience, start adding in a couple more tougher things, but don't go crazy, and do it little bit by little bit. Don't go crazy with some powerful T-Rex dragon or some powerful sorcerer who has a fireball catapult, or whatever, something extravagant like that. Don't go crazy with it. Just build it up slowly. Let them win, in a sense. Let them win. Let them build up and feel good about themselves as they work on their evangelism, as they plant churches. Let that story go. And when you get more and more into it, they get more and more into it. You can start creating more and more scary stuff. Okay. Here, local pagan activity. So a D4, you start with a D4 if they're low level starting out. Let's just do a D4. I'm just going to roll on this foundry thing here. Where's my dice? D4. I rolled a 4. Okay, so let's go back to this. A 4. Feared local beast or brutes treated as idle, usually with local shamanic, or druidic advisor. Okay, shamanic, whatever. Okay, so that's a very typical pagan thing, right? There'll be a local giant raccoon, local rat. Remember the church with the infested mother rat. That's exactly what this 4 is. You could have a local roaming bear that they feed, that they sacrifice to, and this roaming boar or bear or whatever. I would say boar. Start with boar or lower for first, lower level new players, and everyone treats this like a god. This is their worship. It is our protector. We worship the boar. We love the boar. Feed the boar. And the boar comes around and is getting bigger and bigger, and it tears up their farms. Oh, it's okay. It's the boar. We're all starving, but we must feed the boar. It protects us. And this boar just, and the witch, the shaman, or the witch or druidic advisor is always keeping them to worship this thing and give to the druid or whatever. See, so that's a basic thing. Now, to me, right there, that's enough. I don't even need to go further. You already got a story there. They got to fight the boar. They got to deal with this druid or shaman advisor. But let's move on to what are the intentions of this thing. All right, so I'm going to do another D4 for the intentions of this 4. Oh, I keep rolling 4s. Finding riches seeks influence. Has coin may devolve to devious payouts for bad apples. May hide or behind paid goons. Okay, so this druid has some goons, let's say local whatever, who like this they all worship the crazy feral boar, and it's getting big, and they're greedy. The druid's greedy, and maybe they're gonna whatever that. So you can do that. You could even have a creepy thing where there's a cave. You could. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on. All right, this modus operandi D6. Let me roll that. That's just basically giving you like a sense of the character, the bad guy. 2. I rolled a 2. Manipulative. Yeah. Curses others, makes beasts feral, causes a dark god problem that only they can cure. So they're the only ones to deal with, they can deal with the boar and leave it and give it. So the boar will come and eat, but if they stop feeding it, the druid will go out and give the boar a drug that makes it crazy. And then it goes and ravages the villagers, farms, or terrorizes them. So then they go into the druid and give him offerings, and then he calms the boar down with drugs or whatever. See? So it's that kind of a storyline. Manipulative. Location source. All right, this is going to make it colorful. Like, where is this boar at? What is its lair? 11. Ooh. Cave or old mining network. Perfect. So you're going to have some cave nearby or old mine that the boar lives in. And, it's going to be territorial. So if they go there, it's going to attack them. But if they can kill it, then they can go to the village and, change their mind, get them to stop. But there's also, so you got the boar, you got the mining network, you got the druid, evil druid, and you got the goons. So it's going to have goons. So they get to fight these goons. And the goons could be weak, minions, like just local. Okay. Tomb or lair traps. That's something I can skip that because it's just a boar. It's not a, like an actual place. Master crafted items. This is just, it's just ideas for maybe things that they can be there. You know what? Let's put a master crafted item in the cave. Or I could give it to one of the goons. Let's do that. One of the goons has a master crafted item that makes them kind of a toughy guy. Let's roll that. A 9. Well balanced lighter weapon with the die rank to parry. Okay, so one of them is a fencer kind of guy, but sure, we give him an item like that. Treasure. Let's say so. The druid puts his treasure in that cave to keep it and store it there for their own whatever, their retirement fund or whatever, their greedy retirement. I'm gonna roll what that might be. A 1. All right, so this is a poor town. He's just a pouch of denarii in there, Still working on that. Whatever. Okay, so you can how much you want. All right, so there's that. Local disposition of the villagers. Okay, this part here, pagan or Christ. Local disposition means like the locals. So let's roll that. D8. A D8 is a 1. Ooh, they're violently evil. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Wow. This is the story just went whacked. You know what? Now, you don't have to completely, submit yourself to these roles, right? If you feel like you want to make them innocent villagers, especially when you're going with kids, do that. But I, as an experienced GM, can work with this still. As soon as they go to the village, these people are crazy. They're going to attack them. They're going to get out of here. They hate them. It's going to be incredibly dangerous for them. Will seek ways to attack outsiders, ambush or thuggery, or if surprised, they run the area openly or with skullduggery. Not savable, never were. +5 DR to resist. If these resist, it is permanent, not chosen. I don't even know what I wrote there, but no, you just have to decide that. I'm just going to let you figure that out, interpret it the way you want. 5 die ranks to resist. If these resist, it is permanent, so they're never going to, and not savable, never were. So I put in this weird double negative here or whatever. I should probably take it out. And this isn't even final. So yeah, let me just take that out and say +5 to resist. If resist, it is permanent, not chosen. I'm going to put a capital C. So they're going to have to fight the villagers. The villagers want this boar. They want that. So who's there to save here? I would have some slaves. I would put someone in there, to be saved. Slaves, maybe I will make the violent evil just the ruling warriors, like the ruling people and not the regular people, whatever it is. I will definitely add in people to be saved, but whoever is controlling this area, the goons, the druid, and the local people, they like the control they have over the rest of the people. So that's what that is. This is a violent, this could be like the Huns have taken over this area and they rule this area and they worship this boar in the area as well. It does not make for a great story, but I as a GM can kind of work with that. Now, if I have new players, I would not do violent evil. I'm going to reroll just for you guys. Okay, let's just reroll for you guys. What was it? D8. 3. Oh, great. Evil is chaff, tends towards selfish needs, can be manipulated, tends not to use violence like a greedy merchant, but will if they can get away with it. They surrender to save their own skin. They have feelings of worthlessness, if affirmed, may lead them to conversion. But rare is a soul in this group that is chosen. +3 die rank resist. So you can work with that. They're manipulative. They love their boar. They love their worship. They love their druid. They love the oppression and fear they live in, etc., etc. They're Marxists basically. So whatever. So I'm just giving you examples of how this works. Now, this is a pagan activity examples based off of, this is based off of, off of kind of all this stuff here. Just examples. All right, the power of evil. So the witches in this game, the magic in this game is, I made it very kind of basic and arbitrary in a sense. Oh, here's sorcerer names and witch names. But here's the essence of the magic stuff, like curses and even like the blessings. They affect the stats of the character, basically, whatever it is. Whether it's hurting them with taking down their vigor, vitality, giving them an affliction like -1 die rank, -2 die ranks, -3 die ranks to their rolls. Which, by the way, in case if someone has -3 die ranks to their rolls, they don't do anything with that. The GM, you take it and you add it to your roll, as a positive. If they're going to hit somebody, if they're at -3 die ranks, cursed by any one of the witch curses, they're at -3 die ranks, right? So when they want to hit my bandit, I will roll 3 die ranks, which is a D8, and I will add it to the bandit's defense for that turn, or however long that person, for that specific person that has that curse. What are the curses in here? They're basically like poisons. They're basically like a disease, a puff of powder that's a poison, or it could just be a curse. Like the witch has an ability to curse them, and they feel like they're cursed. And is it real? Is it really, really demonically power black magic, or is it psychological, or is it chemical? Or is it drug induced? That's all. That's, you decide through description what you want it to be. But basically, any of these curses is them affecting the stats of your character, or vice versa. And the witches will use a lot of these curses, of this black magic, on their own minions to make them crazy, like drugged out warriors, making them, that's a big one. There's a love one. So love drugs is a huge one. So they could literally do a thing like that on the characters and make them feel drugged and hallucinogenic or whatever, so that they're feeling good and drugged out, and she can affect them. So that's evil for sure. But that's the things that you can have them doing. And basically I break them down into these type of things, but it's in essence that, and you can have a thing where they curse them so that they run away, like in fear. That's a big one. But what is that? Well, it could be like you see demons, you know, like hallucinogens, right? They throw the witch knows how to throw hallucinogens on you, and so you can decide a condition that they have. Like if you fail this and you decide you need to beat a 12 using your spirit or intellect, beat a 12. They just threw this black magic, you know, curse on you, run in fear and darkness and curses, you know, whatever. And then they roll, and if they don't beat that 12, they see demons and they got to run away. You have to run away. You know, you could do that kind of do or die sort of thing. Not die, but like run. They got to run away, and you could do that kind of a curse as well. Whatever you want to come up with that fits that witch, and you know, definitely keep it balanced that they got to resist at a 12. You can make it a 14, a 16, 18 if you want. If it's really, if you know, when you get more experienced and more powerful, you can make it a little more scary and whatever. But generally, I would give them a minus die ranks to their to their rolls, which is very simple. And you could describe it as anything. It could be a pain, it could be a disease, it could be a hallucinogen, it could be whatever. And they just have minus die ranks. You have minus 3 die ranks, minus 5 die ranks. Now if it's an actual grievous wound, like a real wound or a poison, like a real poison, if they go past 5 die ranks, they die. Like it's just too much shock. But anything else, they could go past 5 die ranks. Like if it's a hallucinogen, you know, if it's past 5 die ranks though, like 6 die ranks, 7, I would say they're very incapable of doing things. You know, I would just say that to them. You're so, you know, you can try, but you know, whatever, and let them try. But and how do they get rid of it? Common sense. Think about it. Like they got to wash it off. They got to rest and take water and you know, use common sense as far as like any kind of curse that they have on them, how they can get rid of it. They can, the clergy can pray over them. The nun can do miracle of healing, whatever it is. You can kind of role play that out at the when they get a chance to do it. That's the kind of how I role play also the any of these sort of curses or maladies that the witches will do upon them. Rituals are really important too, because these are like backstory things. These aren't necessarily things that the characters will necessarily encounter like in a combat situation, but you can certainly have it where they are trying to go to a ritual and stop it and then have these things. But basically it's almost like the ritual is like trying to make potions that the warriors drink the night before to go fight and raid, you know, the next day. It's that kind of a ritual. Or they do a ritual like that where they dance around the fire, the sorcerer or witch, you know, gets the warriors all hyped up to go fight. You know, whatever it, you know, that's kind of the basic one. Or they're doing a ritual where they're creating the drug or poison to then feed to the boar or the beast. That kind of a ritual. They go, you know, so that could be a part of the adventures. You go to fight and stop them from making the next batch of evil potions or whatever. And that's kind of what all this is here, as far as the rituals go. And if you can obviously have it where the sorcerer does this ahead of time, you can kind of roll with their magic points and see how many potions they have, you know, based on their magic points and how strong they are, and so how many of the warriors that they're going to encounter will get and attack the players. Or you could just say, you know, half the warriors get it or whatever. You could just do that as well. But there was a ritual involved to do that, you know, kind of a thing, like as a backstory. So that's kind of what this is all explaining here, and the power of evil and what they do. And these are some scary names you can do for them, the witches and sorcerers. And then, yeah, that's it. That's kind of where I end it. You know, that's where I get the creatures here. And this is sort of a basic creature stat, how I write those out. And there's a full creature codex to doing it. This is an example of sort of the potions that they use. It's, you know, so it's that's the basic, you know, there's sort of an, I guess, unlimited amount of types of adventures we could go through just rolling this. Let me do it again. Let me roll a D8 as they're getting up in levels. I'm gonna roll a D8 for their adventure, like the type of plot, a 4. Oh, it's the same one. Let me roll it again just to get a different number than 4. I might even get a 1, you know, something. What? 4? What the heck? Let me roll it again. A 4. Wow. 4 4s. Okay. Wow. Okay. I'm going to do another beast. A 2. All right. This is a 2. Criminal group posing as demonic or superstitious activity. Right? So criminal group posing as a demonic. Okay. So, you know, that's cosplay, like the werewolves, you know, like that type of thing. Let's go to their motive. I'm going to go up to a D8. Up to a D8. Let's get evil. D8. 7. Yeah. Oh boy. Finding black magic seeks demonic power. Oh yeah. Okay, so this is getting scary. All right, let's do the modus operandi. So this is a scary group, whatever this village is or area. 2. Oh, 2 is manipulative. Curses others, makes beasts feral, causes dark god problem. So I mean, this is the same as the other one. So that one's fine, but let's roll another one just for the, just to give you and me a colorful 5. Pure malice, the desire for violence, death, destruction, especially by their followers, in a ritualistic sacrifice, pure chaotic evil. Yeah, so that's going to be a combat one for sure. Let's see where they are. This is like the Huns, the Huns invading in and creating, you could create like a demonic Huns tribe that's maybe cannibalistic or, if you got family members, then I'd keep it more like they're just conquest and bullies and slaves. The simplest thing for especially for kids is just slavery, so you can rescue the slaves. So you could just say that. I would make them, but cannibalistic, but whatever. All right, D2, because cannibalism is a huge part of paganism. They're even trying to push it today, which is ridiculous. Okay, 5. Cave lair. So this Huns, cave lair, dressed as bears, or wolves, going crazy, attacking. The chief, let's say the tough warrior guy has a special master crafted item. Let's roll D10. D10. Is that a 10? No, it's a 12. D10. Roll a D10. 8. Which one is that? +2 weapon to hit and damage. Amazing rare epic. So +2 is a constant number. It's not 2 die ranks. It's +2 is pretty powerful. 2 hit and damage. That's a big battle axe, sharp old Roman gladiator axe or whatever that has a +2 to hit, and that's pretty amazing. So that's a cool thing. Now let's do treasure, D12. 5. And you can even do a thing like, I'll do 2 D12s and pick the highest. Do that. 5, local merchant goods carts. So they're stealing the local merchant goods. Now, what does a treasure have to do with the game? In the sense that if you get this treasure, you can give it to the church that you're trying to build, and then that supports them. And as a GM, I would reward them with something if they did that. Like, oh, well, let's give you, a holy item or whatever. You can come up with different little items. And like one nun has psalm scriptures, and as she gets more and more scripture psalms that she copies into her little scroll parchment thing, codex thing, she has more bonuses, die rank bonuses to her prayer, so anyway, like right now she has 2 die ranks. So if she gets if they support the church again and she's near the monastery, they can copy some more and give it to her, hand copy it. So they have local merchant goods. So this tells me that the group is not going to be very big. Maybe it's a group of like 8 or 10 crazy local warrior Huns lost in this area. They live in a cave. They're terrorizing everyone. They want power. They got some black magic, whatever that is. I can give them a witch, which is probably drugs that make them terrifying, and they're terrifying the local area. So let's then see what the local disposition of the people are based off of this. Are they supporting this group? Like maybe they're the ones supporting them, or are they fearful of them? Let's roll. Please roll high. 5. Okay, 5's good. Sinners, having resorted to evil, do not like it. Open to an answer. They feel guilty. They will avoid helping anyone for fear of retribution. Their greatest fear and love needs to be revealed to them. So they're not telling anyone about these people. They're fearful of them. They're not helpful. Why aren't they helpful? Because they're afraid of them. If you shake the hornet's nest, the beasts will attack. They probably call them beasts or demons of the forest. And they stay away from them. So the demons of the forest, and you could even have where the demons of the forest come in as normal men, although very suspicious looking men, and they come into this village to get their stuff, whatever supplies they want, and then they leave, leaving this village intact while going around and attacking all the other villages. And so the village is like fine with that. They know that they have this evil thing next to them, but they're fine because they see. So you can create that kind of a thing. Okay, that's how you create the stories that you want to create. It's a Christian, motif here of evangelism and church planning. I think I've got this figured out. I'm a 45-year veteran DM player, and I've written tons of stuff like this before. I've never finished something this complete, to actually be a product. But I'm really, ever since all this woke and BLM and woke and LGBTQ stuff that they're throwing into the RPG culture, and I've realized, and I think we're all starting to realize, that we're being sorted, and we can have a cool RPG where we have fellowship, and you can turn it into a ministry. And to me, the most important ministry right now is shoring up the church, teaching kids about church history using this game, teaching kids about how we evangelize on with confrontations and stuff like that in a fun, silly game where they get to have some fun adventure and storytelling. So that's what this is all about, and I hope that you can be a GM. I'm going to keep doing videos like this, just to keep giving you more examples. But that's your basic thing. Draw out a regional map that you want. Maybe pick an area on Google and sort of figure out like a little old map, or find some old maps of areas that you know, and do a small area with one village or a couple villages, at least one good village where you have a church, and then several evil villages or unknown villages where they got to go to and investigate, and then roll out these little plots. Roll out these little plot points here and create your simple little creatures. And I have all the assets you need to print as far as creatures go. I'm going to show you that real quick. These are available. It's like $5 on my website to do this, or you can just come out, do your own. These are very easy though, to download and use, as opposed to going out and finding a ton of different stuff. Okay, where is it? Tokens. Okay, let me go back to this real quick. I gotta update this, but it is up there. But I do need to update all these products that I've got on here. Okay, view. Let me get closer here. View. So just so you can see, I've created all these assets here so that you guys can have, characters, villagers. These are all printable. You cut it out, fold it, and then trim it to fit. See, and then like these could be, like I said, the Huns in the cave, being animals, being brutes. I did a group here, which I was gonna do minion group fights, but I'm not. It's unnecessary in this game. But they're there, if you want to do that. Which you got to be experienced to know what that means. But anyway, bandits, bad guys, witches, rats. These are all paper cutouts. You print them out on cheap photo paper. You can use regular paper, but it just the color is not as good, and it's a little too light. The paper kind of flops around. But yeah. And and I like this because it's just easier and cheaper, and you can put it in your folder. Here's the horned ones. Here's some animals you can have and challenge them. Here's a little higher level sorcery and pagan women. These I just use for comedic thing. They're dancing around their pagans rituals. And you can go a little scarier with like undead Roman soldiers, because there's in hagiography and church history there is notes of evil spirits possessing inanimate objects and stuff, and the pagans do put like dead warriors in their tombs and stuff. That's been known to happen. I don't know about the Romans necessarily, but I thought I'd just do some Roman undead. I'm mixing all the myth and legends and making extravagant stuff, and of course a giant spider, which is obviously but I'm gotta have fun with this. All right, you gotta do some fantastical, but I am trying to keep it within the realm of like Dark Ages and creation science. And so these are all the different things that are available. You can print. Look at that. These are like my little wood elves or forest. Here's the wolfmen guys. Kind of like I'm doing like ogre trolls. And there's some other crazy pagans. Wood elf. See, wood. They're made of wood. Dragon. I know it's kind of hard to see in the sideways, but more pagan-y giant. Yeah, see? Dinosaurs. Yeah, dinosaurs. I want your kids to realize that's a dinosaur. And, dark stuff. And I'm going to take these out but they're supposed to be like, referenced, but I'm always adjusting them, and these are older now, so I got to take those out. And just not do them there, because that's a hassle to me to keep updating every little spot. But anyway, so that's, you can download these. You can download the map pieces. And have those for your table. And it's cheap, $5. You get all of that, and then the map pieces are $5. So yeah. Anyway, to cut out and place around, and you can like jigsaw it and figure out what you want, and it's kind of cool. All right, so that's my GM tutorial again, and I'm going to keep doing them over and over because I enjoy it. But I hope that helps you understand how to GM. Again, go in it, let the players know you don't know what you're doing. You're trying this out. Let them help you as well in the rules. Always, if they feel like if they're being frustrated, make it easier, or have someone come in and rescue them. If you feel like it's getting too dark and scary, and have someone come in and rescue them. Have an angel show up. Have the bad guys suddenly, oh, what is that? An angel. Oh, run away. If you feel like you've gone a little too far with it, and I've done that, and players have like, joyful. So that's okay too. Some I've let die, but I figured they can handle it, and then they make a new character, and that, you can start again, and so keep it simple, keep the story simple, but be excited about it. If you're not excited about it, then do something that does excite you. As far as a GM, it's really like, what should I do? What do you want to do? Make it exciting for you. Make it exciting for you, not for them. Make it exciting for you because if you're excited, that will sell them. Okay. And another thing, don't make it too linear. Like they have to go this way. They have to do this. They have to do that. You want to sell them to do something. But give them a little bit of options to go maybe in another direction if they want. If you have a village, make sure to put a few different things out there that they can go choose from, as opposed to, as soon as you go to the village, our child is kidnapped, go right now and rescue them. Don't do that, because you're throwing them immediately into something. Try to make a couple of points, even if it's like the boar, the village, and they worship the boar, right? Make it so that there's a bandits over here that bother them. The villagers are acting kind of weird. There's a giant boar out there somewhere. There's a weird druid, and all those have different locations around the village, so that even though they're all intertwined and tied, they still have a feel they can go out and do different things. And you might even want to add a simple little encounter with, say, a bandit camp, with losers, a little side witch who's got her own little grift going on that's goofy, and she could turn into a good person, if they convert her. That helps them and becomes like a nun type of thing. You can do that. So you add little things like that in there as well. Don't just, create the main plot, but then have a couple little fun, little silly things that they can do as well. And especially where they can interact with townspeople that maybe are not totally evil or whatever, or, that are not, maybe, do that too. Add a few other characters in there that they can interact with that sort of add flavor to it. Okay. Yeah. And what's great too is if you want to be a writer or, creative person, this is a great way to do it, an outlet and a way to practice and hone your acting, your improvisation skills, your storytelling, your socializing, your fellowship. It's just a constant thing like that. And we all want to tell stories, and this is a great way to do it. And if you're a writer, this is really helps with writing, like creating stuff and seeing how people interact with your stories. But again, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't shoehorn them. Don't force them down a path. Let them kind of explore your areas and create, a few things, have a notes. Keep it simple though, the notes. A couple simple descriptive words for each character kind of thing. And their conversion level possibility, I like to use that conversion level 1 through 8 to sort of give them these different characters that scene. And you can obviously just decide, this person is going to convertible. This person is ready. This witch is actually really wants to be a good person, but this is all she knows, and etc. I could go on and on and on about GM advice, but I know this is long and I'm kind of silly, but I hope this is helpful to any of you out there that want to be a GM for the Lore RPG. The game of life. Got to roll holy dice.